Hi, welcome to Real Film Snobs. I'm Angela Yeager.
That makes me Brian Michael. That clip you saw at the top of the show is from Jojo Rabbit, directed by Taika Waititi, a name that's starting to be known throughout Hollywood as a very interesting and funny director. This story is a young boy played by Roman Griffith Davis who's in Hitler's youth army, and he finds out that his mother is actually hiding a young Jewish girl in their home. With the help of his imaginary friend, Adolf Hitler, played by Waititi, he figures out what exactly he's going to do. Now, as you can tell by the clip and also my description, that this is a very interesting and very unusual film that's going to cross many lines where maybe it's in good taste or not, but it's really funny, and that's what this director does so well, is just being able to walk that line, that you're able to sit there and this young boy who's in this army and on the wrong side of it, obviously, and but you see the decisions that he makes and where these decisions come from, and of course he befriends the young girl and starts to realize there are two sides to every story, and even having someone playing Adolf Hitler in the movie for a comedic effect actually rather works, because even though the information that he's giving to him doesn't always something he's listening to. Scarlett Johansson, who plays the young boy's mother in a wonderful comedic performance, and then the young girl that's hiding in the house is played by Thomasin McKenzie in a wonderful performance. And I've seen this actress before, and I didn't write it down in my notes where I'd seen her before, but she's very good as well. Mm-hmm. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. It was a packed theater. It's got a lot of buzz, obviously, because of the trailer alone, but it's a fun film.
Well, it's rare to find a good comedy. It's a good, I'm giving it 3 stars. I'm a little disappointed because there's some hype behind it, and it's a very solid 3-star movie in that I enjoyed it while I was watching it, and then an hour later I realized I wasn't thinking about it. It's not something that stayed with me. All the performances are solid. Sam Rockwell, you didn't mention him, but he's always a favorite of ours on the show, and he plays a, shall we say, sympathetic Nazi? Is there such a thing? If there is, his character is somewhat sympathetic, or at least complicated.
I would say that he was a soldier who realizes the war is over and the idealism is just going to go out the window, and we're just going to
Right. He's a guy who likes war, and he may or may not actually believe in what the Nazis are fighting for. He just wants to fight, I think, was part of it. Yeah. And you're right, all the performances are really good, and the director who plays Adolf Hitler is very funny as Adolf in the movie. I actually thought the young boy who played Jojo, and you said his name and I've already forgotten it.
Roman.
Yeah, Roman. He's a very good actor. I thought he was very effective in the lead role. So I think all that said, though, it's not really that, it's not that big of a deal in this day and age to have Hitler be as comedic as it might have been, because we've seen it before in older movies. Charlie Chaplin, The Great Dictator, and Ernst Lubitsch's film. But I think here what he does is by putting it through this lens of a young person who is very easily influenced, who maybe doesn't have good reasons for his ideals. Yeah. He's never even met a Jewish person up until this point.
Correct.
In the film. So he's just going, and she says it to him at one point, and it's in the trailer, so I'm not giving anything away, but she says to him, you just want to be part of a club. You just want to have friends and have something, wear a uniform, and that's what it's about for you, But for her, it's like life or death. And so as the consequences that start to rain down on him, it starts to become a lot more serious. So I can recommend it. It's sort of weird to say this is a lighthearted movie about Nazis in World War II, but
there is some realism that comes in towards the end that was done really well, in my opinion. I thought that was fantastic. And but yeah, it's a 3-star film. Yeah, I was hoping a little bit more, but then again, it's hard to make certain things funny. Before we go into our next movie, of course, we always want to tell everybody that of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, or if you don't realize that we're on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button or hit the little bell, and you'll get notifications every time we post a new episode. That's how I know that we've posted a new one. Then I put it on my page, and you can share it, on your
social media.
Multimedia. There's so many out there. Oh my gosh! I just realized that IG. I'm like, there's a new one. What's IG?
There's always a new one. Yeah.
No, it's just Instagram. And so we're going to look at our clip for our next review, which is Ford versus Ferrari. Okay, so now we have the newest offering from James Mangold, or as I always say, Mangold, whose last film was Logan, which is a film noir adaptation of a comic book character, yes, Wolverine, that I really enjoyed as a filmmaker that I've always really enjoyed since the very beginning of Heavy, of DVD I own.
He's had
so
quite the
old,
career.
I have it on DVD. And so this one, he takes
beta.
He takes
really
a kind of an unknown story, at least to many people of my generation, Ford versus Ferrari. At the Le Mans, it's a major race. I didn't know too much about it, and the film kind of just explains it as you go along. A major race that's won by Ferrari every year, and so Ford Motor Company decides they want to dip their toe into this. It's also used as an ad marketing campaign to the young boomers out there, and so they want to build a race car that can win this race. And so they bring in a character played by Christian Bale, who's a whiz mechanic as well as an driver, and Matt Damon, who just appears in so many films and can act across pretty much from everybody. If you really turn it up, he just matches it. And just Matt Damon, I was just always impressed. He's always there.
You and Matt
Damon can always, Christian Bale, here's a guy that can just blow anybody out of the water. And Matt Damon just holds steady and just holds true. It's a fascinating story. If you know nothing about it, it's even better because I knew nothing about this going in. I just sat down. It's a whiz-bang movie. It's a really great, it's a great Hollywood picture, and just in terms of sheer entertainment. I enjoyed this film. I did not hold back whatsoever.
No, I didn't either.
Laughed
You
out
heard
loud.
me, I'm sure, too.
I whooped and screamed. I pulled at my feet every once in a while during the racing scenes, which are very extensive and extremely well done for action scenes.
Very well shot. Yeah.
Really well done. Now, Angela, I know there was a lot of special effects that had to be done in this movie because of the time and the period.
Yeah.
I could not see them. I know when the camera sometimes is outside of the vehicle, and there's nothing flashy. There's nothing like John Singleton in Too Fast, Too Furious where it's going around it or whatever. Or even the times where you and I say, I always like a bird's eye view so I can see where everyone's at. There's nothing like that. We are right there in the driver's seat, right alongside Christian Bale, or right outside the race car. We keeps it at ground level. You feel that you are right there in it. When there's obstructed view, we can't see past the fog. When it's raining, we see through. We can't see past that. It was really thrilling and such a well-made film.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. This had some buzz going in. It did very well at film festivals. The title doesn't make you think it's going to be anything amazing because I'm not a car person, and I really could care less usually. Although I do like both of the actors. I felt like it was cast for us because Matt Damon's your guy and Christian Bale's my guy. So I was like, hey, the snobs will both be happy.
Batman versus Matt Damon.
Yeah. Anyway, he's a little bit more than Batman. He's had quite a few years.
That's what he's known for.
Yeah, that's not what he won the Oscar for. Anyway, and it's also over 2 hours, which I kind of thought, okay, how much plot is it going to have? But it literally speeds right along.
Yeah.
I mean, it just flew by for me. This is a movie, what I posted on the Real Film Snobs Facebook pages, this is a movie, if you don't like this movie, I'm not sure that you actually like movies. And what I mean by that, this is the kind of movie that classic Hollywood used to do that you see so rarely. It's not a high concept thing. It's just a good story, well executed, classic filmmaking. There's nothing showy, as you brought up about the shots. He's not cutting constantly.
Well, it is, but it's not.
Well, in that way.
Well,
the action sequences are well executed. They're fast. I mean, the cars are fast, but you feel like you're in the car with them. But it takes its time to also slow down and have those moments between the characters. You really get the sense of the friendship between the Christian Bale character is this English guy who's kind of he is a hothead, which is made for Christian Bale character, because he's a famous hothead himself. And, this guy who's just got a lot of pride in his work and he's very competitive. And then Matt Damon's character is a former driver who understands his friend. He understands his motivation. He understands what it feels like. He's on the other side now due to a health condition. So he's got to kind of pull back from that, but he still has a lot of passion for the race.
He's kind of the buffer between the two because you've got the rebel who wants to do his own way. Then you got the corporate America that sits over here and says, no, well, here's a bunch of money, but eventually, some point in time, we're going to pull the leash, and he's just got to figure out how long to make that leash for the Christian Bale character. And I really enjoyed that dynamic because there was at one point in time where he wants to go off. He's like, "Hey, calm down," and turns around, and then he goes off. And I thought that was really funny. I thought it was a great dynamic between the two.
The script is just very
smart.
well constructed. Very well constructed.
And I was even counting during some of the racing scenes between the cuts because there's the famous Michael Bay 3 seconds. And there actually was a lot of times where it was 3 seconds, but in that camera, those 3 seconds shots, we were moving along, but we were right next with the car. So it wasn't like there was a lot of things going past and things flying by.
It didn't feel disorienting like
yes.
a lot of the modern action movies do, where
Exactly.
there's so much cutting that you're going, I can't see what the heck is going on in front of me. That's one of the things we've liked about the John Wick movies, is that it pulls back a little bit. It doesn't mean that it's like really slow. It just means that it's framed in such a way that you can actually see what's happening. This one is very much the same way, and I appreciate it.
The ending, you know, if you know nothing about it, I really recommend not knowing anything about it, but the ending would be, some people might consider anticlimactic or different. I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really cool. And then the way the characters took that was, I love that.
I just love to see that this would be the kind of big tentpole movies Hollywood would do more often.
Yeah.
Take a chance on something. It's not a new it's not a franchise. It's not a remake of a TV show or a video game. It was an original story based on a true story. Yeah, but you know, just well done with really great
I kept
actors.
thinking throughout the film, I wish your dad and my father were there to watch it.
I know.
With us. They would have totally, absolutely loved it. So yeah, so Gene, if you're watching, you know, go out and see it. And
yeah,
my father passed 15 years ago. Maybe they have a theater there, I assume. Just watch it with Gene Siskel. And
I was like, which Gene? Yeah, Gene Siskel.
Yeah, but this is kind of just everyone could sit and enjoy this film.
Yeah, definitely. So,
Totally.
what's 3.5?
Yeah, no, that's
it's almost like 4 because you're like, I can't only flaw on it, but I'm not sure if it's a masterpiece. So it's in that range. Anyway, okay, we have a clip for you to take a look at. It is Pain and Glory. Okay, you saw a clip for Pain and Glory. This is the new film by the auteur Pedro Almodóvar. And in this film, it is about a film director, big surprise, who reflects on major touchstones of his life, including his mother, his first love, a difficult actor he worked with on his breakthrough movie, and much more. The film stars Antonio Banderas, in what I think is one of the great performances of 2019 as the director Salvador Malo, and then throughout flashbacks of his childhood, Penelope Cruz plays his mother. So don't worry, Penelope Cruz isn't playing Antonio Banderas' mother. In real time, at least. Well, we know Hollywood has a tendency to do that sometimes.
Oh, God. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So this is very much, of course, a semi-autobiographical work that's based on Almodóvar's actual life. But you don't need to know about him, although it helps to appreciate the movie. I think it's really for anyone who really wants to just see a well-made character study and a beautiful story. It has a lot of nostalgia and longing, and it's very much a movie that's a little bit about, you know, the things in life that give you passion, that give your life meaning and hope. And his character is kind of in a down period when we start. You know, he stopped making movies. He's got a lot of health problems that are really just affecting him. You know, he's basically suffering with pretty severe depression, it seems like, and he's self-medicating, and he's trying to find his way back to a place where he can be creative again, and really struggling with that. And so reflecting back on the things that made him creative to begin with, or the things that inspired his creativity, you know, kind of helps him to get through that. So I just thought it was a really touching movie. At several points I was very choked up.
You know, when a filmmaker makes the bucket should put down on the bottom of the well, and when the well's empty and it just kind of clanks the bottom and makes the echo, and sometimes the echo can be really interesting, and sometimes the echo is just pretty much hollow. That's what usually happens with directors when they make a film about directors who are directing. They can't think of the next film. It's either going to be 8.5, which is a genius, or Stardust Memories. Just coughing dust. So I was really worried about that, and I thought, oh no, the wells run dry, and we're just going to watch a movie that echoes, and it's going to be nothing. It's just going to be absolutely hollow. This movie had a lot of great heart, and boy, right off the bat, just Antonio Banderas just inhabits this character. You care about this character, and you immediately start to see, you know, as we get older, there's more aches, there's more pains, and then there's this, and then this is what happens, and I really enjoyed the way they were able to tell that story. Penelope Cruz, who gets to play a mother, you know, eventually we all going to have to play a parent at some point in time. It's still, she's just one of the most beautiful women in the entire world. They don't try to make her look old or anything like that, but she just can play a little tired as a mother would be, and she does a wonderful job of that. And I love the fact that you would get Penelope Cruz to play your mother, because of course your mother is the most beautiful woman in the world. Why wouldn't she play your mother in a film? I know that if I would cast I would cast Penelope Cruz as my mother. She's absolutely stunning and gorgeous, and she does a great job certainly as well. But you know, as we get more with Pedro's films, the thing that always sticks out to me is just the look of the film.
Oh gosh.
And I mean,
So
just
great.
the bright, vibrant colors, all of the patterns.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a classic look that when you look at some of the outfits they're wearing, like it's 60s kind of mod, 70, 80. What they're kind of timeless looking in many ways. The wardrobe is, and certainly the backdrops. They're just the amazing colors, and just to have him sitting there, you know, in this beautiful, you know, this fantastic home surrounded by these amazing paintings.
All of his films, the apartments are like,
yeah,
you just want to
but
like,
trying to find, trying to find inspiration, and then just going back through life as we all do at certain ages, and those certain touchstone moments that he had, certainly as a young boy with his first crush, that they don't really push too much, but there's certain moments that you kind of go, oh yeah, everyone has those kind of moments in life, not to the extent of that, but pretty darn close, and you kind of go, oh yeah, that's where you kind of first realized things were, you know, what you were attracted to or who you were as a person.
Yeah.
It's beautiful and poignant. He does not hit you over the head. He
Oh, no,
doesn't
it's a
hit you
very
over the
subtle
head
film.
Constantly. I mean, it's not super subtle, but it's, yeah, we just
It's
have to
pretty
sit there
subtle,
where
but-
you have a conversation about it. And
Yeah,
talk about
I
everything.
was just so moved by this picture, and you're right. It's very classical. I've been used this word a lot, but just his framing of his shots, you know, and it's so rare that anyone does this these days. You're almost amazed, like going from a two-shot, two people talking, then to a close-up.
Yeah.
And then back to a two-shot, which is classic filmmaking styles that he's using here.
It's a
but you don't
wonderful
see
rhythm
yeah,
that they kind of have with those
it's very
conversations.
soothing. Yeah, I
and the
thought
different
so.
conversations they have with different people are, you know, certainly have different context and a different history behind them. And I think it was really fascinating.
I loved it. Yeah. I just
yeah.
want to move into the apartment too. So that was a whole.
Well,
other
even the
thing.
cave, if Penelope Cruz is there, I mean, that's fine. I'm good with that.
And Antonio Banderas, such a great performance. And hard, I bet,
Yes.
to be directed by the person you're sort of playing. I mean, there would be challenges with that. So I think, and who would have ever thought, I don't know if I would have thought back in the day that Antonio Banderas would go on to become such a great actor. I mean, just even the way he would be getting out of a taxi and he'd be kind of slow. Like, even before I knew he had health problems, I thought, why is he kind of holding his back when he's getting out of cars? You know, it was these little things he brought to the character.
Well, he plays a likable
Wasn't
character.
over the top, though.
You know, he plays an artist that's very likable, that he can kind of, people let certain things slide because of their art and because of who they are, and he kind of plays the man of that stature. You could see he could live in that skin.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I'm giving it 4 stars.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
Oh, you're agreeing? Okay.
yeah.
Wow, we're in a lot of agreement. Okay. Our next film is The Lighthouse, and this is about 2 lighthouse keepers, played by Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, living on a remote New England island in the 1890s. And after a little while, they start to really get on each other's nerves. And that's all I really want to say about this movie. And there actually isn't much more to it than that, honestly, in terms of plot.
Oh, yeah.
And when we talk about plot, this is not a movie with a lot of plot. What this movie does have a lot is it's a lot of fun, I thought, which a lot of people wouldn't describe it that way, but I thought it was fun. To me, what's fun is seeing 2 great actors. It's sort of like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Okay, that kind of fun. It's these 2 great actors just kind of go at each other. Like, okay, you're my sparring partner now. This is a boxing match. Let's destroy one another. That's what's fun about it. And I could just tell that they were having a great time.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't actually like each other during the filming, you know, they're having a great time acting-wise. Like, oh, okay, you're going to do that, I'm going to do this. And Willem Dafoe, if he doesn't get nominated for this performance, him and Antonio Banderas both should be up there this year.
Yeah.
He has a soliloquy right before when Robert Pattinson will not claim to like his lobster. He has a soliloquy where he goes off on him, and it is one of the great. I mean, I kept thinking I was watching it. How many takes did it take him to get that right? Because he has this, and he also speaks in kind of a pirate tone. I'll just put that out there. And I loved it.
Old English, yeah.
It's very piratey. But the thing with Robert Eggers is very interesting. Like his first film, The Witch, which we loved.
It's the same film. This is just done with men, which is fine.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
But it's
Love
also
that.
based on real historical research. He actually went and found lightkeepers' notebooks
Diaries,
and things and used actual language, took it right from historical documents, like real language. So you think, oh, this is too crazy to be real. A lot of it is actually real, which is even crazier. I mean, not the mermaid stuff and all that, I'm sure, but maybe the hallucinations.
Don't give away the mermaids. Yeah, so, you know, for those out there who love the Oscars and award show, the season has begun. This is we're putting the stake down right now, right here. This not only is it a worldly veteran actor playing a worldly veteran, a guy in this lighthouse, and then here's the young guy that can just match him. I mean, Robert Pattinson, and I've had to have this conversation. I had a conversation with a waitress at a restaurant. I was like, no, you don't understand. The guy from Twilight, yeah, I know. He's become this amazing actor, and so is Kristen Stewart, and she's like, you're crazy. I'm like, no, trust me. Just find the smaller films that they're making.
Yeah, all these little European films and indies.
After if you see Anthony Mann westerns, you just start to go, Westerns should just be in black and white. I mean, they just are. John Ford, sure, but everyone else just black and white. Willem Dafoe, who I just enjoy so much, and he's really just hitting such a great stride right now. Really should just be in black and white from now on. He is so fantastic. He has just the perfect
lines on his face for black and white.
He just knows how to open up his eyes wide. I mean, they're so expressive. And so is Robert Pattinson. They just look amazing in black and white. And it's a 1.1 by 1, whatever you want, just ratio, which pretty much is just square. This film really could have just had some title cards and just been a silent film. Really, honestly, aside from his speech at the end, really, we don't need anything else. This was so much fun. You just sit in absolute delight and just giggle.
I know. I was having a ball.
Like, I love
it's funny.
this.
I didn't think it as dark as. I mean, it obviously is dark, but I didn't find it dark the way some people did.
Exactly.
And that I was having so much fun because I was enjoying these characters and the just craziness.
This is film snob. This is just.
Yeah, it's film snobs territory.
You're just going to chase the dragon the rest of the year.
4 stars.
Here we go. Oh, not even a question.
Okay.
Yeah, if you didn't get 4 stars, I'm like, really? So then we're going to move on to our next movie. There's no clip. Thank God.
No, there is a clip.
There is a clip? Oh, let's look at Terminator Dark Fate.
That was great.
Hey kids, you ever played with an inflated balloon? How much fun that is? You bat it around, don't let it touch the ground. You ever played with a deflated balloon? It's not as much fun. That's pretty much what Terminator Dark Fate, that's what I almost forgot. Directed by Tim Miller, who I just had so much more hopes for after Deadpool 2. This is the continuation of the Terminator movie. Guess what happens? They send a Terminator back from the future to get somebody who's going to give birth or something or other, or lead the rebellion, and Linda Hamilton's there. They dust her off, and
part 2.
And she just plays cranky. Linda Hamilton just plays cranky in this film. I was so excited to see her in this film, and she just plays the cranky old white guy in this movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't show up until way late, past I stopped caring is when he showed up. When I looked at my watch, I was like, yep, I pretty much stopped caring about this movie. They're never in any kind of danger. The person they send back from the future is altered, and yeah, she probably kicked my butt in a fight because she's taller than me and got a good reach, but she's just, it doesn't really do much for me. The Terminator that they send back has had this really cool thing where he has a skeleton and he's liquid, but they've shown that in the preview, so it didn't do anything for me. He has no screen presence whatsoever. This movie is just flat all the way through. It starts interesting wise because there's a death in the beginning, and I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And then the special effects make Linda Hamilton look younger. I thought, oh, is this a cut scene from Terminator 2? She looks amazing. No, it was actually computers. That's it. And it's just all flat. No one's in danger. I didn't really care. There's a fight at the end. I know how it's going to end.
It might be time to put this series to bed. It might be time to terminate the Terminator.
Don't say it. That's even, ugh.
Come on. But they've been bad for a while. I mean, I actually thought this one was better.
This makes 3 look really, really good, which I liked. This makes 3 look really good.
I think it's better than the whatever the last one was I saw. I don't know, whatever. Yeah.
That was terrible.
But Mackenzie Davis, who is really the lead in this movie, who plays Grace, oh boy, these names, who is the saving grace, perhaps, of the film, she's just not that interesting to watch. She is not Linda Hamilton. And Natalie Reyes, who I thought actually was pretty good as Danny Ramos, isn't given much to do, and her character's underwritten. There's some, you can see some attempts at trying to get to some things. There's a thing with immigration and ICE.
This is what James Cameron does well. Huh. I got to say that. James Cameron did it really well because we had a lot of scenes beforehand setting these people up to where we cared about them. And for a while, you're scared of the Terminator. I never was scared of the Terminator in this. I never really was ever scared of it. In Terminator 2, they did a great job of setting him up being something really terrifying because he was able to do this. And he was able to just kill you with literally the pointing of his finger and put it right through you. There was so many really cool things. This one, it just assumes we know. Yeah, it's terrible. It's going to be able to do this. But I never felt any kind of fear. We never connect with these characters. We never have anything like that. Linda Hamilton shows up, but I mean, a little backstory, all she's been doing is this. Okay. And that's it. We don't get to see any of that. James Cameron in Terminator 2 did a really good job. Or even in the first one, we character built. There's none of that. None of that.
Well, and speaking of an action movie, we talked about Ford versus Ferrari, where you care about the characters, but there's a lot of action. Like this one has, you're right, none of that.
They're not going to, I know they're fine.
The Terminator was not scary at all. Yeah. When he came out, I was like, oh, that little guy? Not to say little, but he wasn't a menacing presence. And I don't mean little like stature. I mean, he didn't feel scary. Yeah. So, and that's
T-1000 is terrifying. That still scares me. So is the T-800. Okay, so we can highly... here we go. We liked Jojo Rabbit. We can highly recommend Ford versus Ferrari. Boy, that might be a 4-star later. We'll see if I see it again. And Lighthouse, we can highly recommend Pain and Glory, not Pain and Gain. Don't see that. Pain and Glory, we both highly recommend as well. Terminator Dark Fate.
Skip it.
So you can certainly, you can like us on Facebook, you can follow us on Twitter, you can watch us on YouTube, you can listen to us on KMUZ, you can also watch us in Corvallis, Silverton, Salem. We have amazing sponsors. Be sure to look at them during our credits. We want to thank our amazing crew, my wonderful co-host. I want to thank you as well. Our viewers, have a great day and great movies.